Hi everyone, my name is Alicia Lawrence. Chances are you've already met me before, but if not, I'm the nutritionist at Puro Health and Wellness. And today I'm recording this video to go over your hormone kits and how to properly collect your saliva and stool samples. So let's start with your kit. You should have this in your possession, and I'm going to go through everything that should be included inside. The first thing you'll see is your requisition form. On the front of this form, you can see that there is the upper grade portion where you will fill out your personal information and shipping information. Now, most likely your gender will already be filled out along with the specific hormones that we'll be testing for based on if you're female or male. So you won't have to worry about checking off the specific tests. On the back, there is instructions for both the saliva and stool collection. So I'm going to go through them with you today, and everything that I talk about is right from this form. You will also have a prepaid UPS shipping label, your vials for your saliva test, and your vials for your stool test. Lastly, you will find a booklet, instructional booklet, to go through how to properly collect your stool and saliva samples. Okay, so we're going to start with how to properly collect your saliva samples. And you will see that you'll have a bag with 4 vials that are topped with blue caps here. And on your form, you may see that it says that there is a vial with labeled F/L, and it looks like this. However, you won't have this in your possession because it's removed beforehand, and we don't actually use it for anything that we're testing for. So don't worry if you see it on your form and you're wondering that you don't have that vial. It was actually removed ahead of time. Now, before you start collecting any of your saliva samples, it's going to be really important to write your name and your date of birth on all of them. I would do this first thing so you don't forget. I'm going to start from the top here and go through the instructions for the saliva samples. And there's going to be a period of time before you start giving the samples that you're going to have to avoid certain foods and medications. So I'm going to run through them with you right now. 3 to 5 days before you start collecting your saliva samples, it is recommended to stop using any type of sublingual hormone or hormone replacement therapy at your decision. So if you are taking birth control or something like that, you can keep taking it. But there is a spot on your form that we'll go over later on how to mark it off and let them know you're taking these specific medications or hormones. The night before, you're going to avoid using mouthwash, antacids, or bismuth medication, so Pepto-Bismol is an example. The day of collection, you're going to avoid the following foods. So this will include chocolate, onions, garlic, and cruciferous vegetables, so broccoli, cabbage, cauliflower. Remove those from your diet the day of collection. Now, I do recommend picking a day during the week as opposed to the weekend for your saliva samples, because we do want an accurate reflection of, your daily stressors, because that's what these are testing for, along with other hormones, but mainly your cortisol levels. And as you can see, each of these tubes are going to be labeled for different time periods throughout the day. So there's a morning, a noon, afternoon, and then a midnight. Back to the day of collection, you do not want to drink any coffee, tea, or caffeinated beverages. 60 minutes prior, don't eat or drink anything aside from water. You also want to avoid smoking or brushing your teeth. Now, the good news is you do get a full 60 minutes to actually get your saliva samples collected. You don't have to do it, within a couple minutes. It can be difficult for some people to produce that much saliva, so you do get the full hour within the allotted time frame. If you have difficulty producing saliva, you will receive a handout for tips to do so. either during class, or I will attach this document below the video here. The top portion of this handout goes over different ways to produce more saliva, so you can read through those if you need some tips. And what you want to do is you want to fill the saliva up to the 5 milliliter mark. It's tough to see on camera, but you'll notice it when you have it in person. And you want it to be completely full with saliva up to that mark. This will not include the foam or bubbles that might rest on top. So all the way up to the 5 milliliter mark, just saliva, and then on top of that can be extra foam. After you're done completing all your samples, you want to put them back in their baggie and then put them in the refrigerator right away. Again, make sure that they are all labeled with your name and your date of birth. So this will only take 1 day to complete your saliva samples. Next, we're going to talk about the stool sample. You will have 3 brown capped vials for the stool collection. And again, name, date of birth, write them on each and every one of them so you don't forget right off the bat. And just like the saliva samples, there's a period of time where you're going to be avoiding certain foods and medications. It's a little bit longer of a list, so I'll kind of run through them. And if you're not sure, if you don't remember them, again, it's on your requisition form. So 3 to 4 days prior to collecting, you're going to be avoiding the following, and I'm just reading them off of a list. So vitamins, minerals, iron supplements, brewer's yeast, antacids, antibiotics, antifungals, digestive enzymes, rare cooked meat, fiber laxative, bismuth medications, enemas, suppositories, and again, the cruciferous vegetables. You'll also notice that there is these tubes, these vials here do come with liquid in them. Don't discard them, you're going to actually need it for your collection, so keep that fluid in here. There is a diagram on your requisition form that goes through how to properly collect the stool samples, so I'll kind of explain that right now. The first collection is going to be a B vial, which is a little bit opposite. You might think you'll start with A, but you actually do start with a B. You're going to remove the cap, and there's a little spoon for collecting your sample. And what you'll do is you'll take some clear wrap and put it over the toilet seat, get your specimen, and the reason for the clear wrap is you don't want this stool to be contaminated by either urine or toilet water because that will skew your results. You collect your sample using the spoon, and you fill it up all the way to the upper ridge, and you'll see that with the diagram. So you want the fluid to raise up to that marker. You're going to remove the spoon after the collection, put the cap back on and screw it on tightly, give it a good shake, and then refrigerate it. So that's how that's going to work. Then for your second collection, you're going to wait 2 to 3 days. You're going to actually get your second collection using the A vial. Do the same thing like you did with the B vial, and you're going to do both the A and there's another B vial. And you're going to write down the date that you collected everything. Now during this collection phase for this stool, you are going to continue to avoid all of the foods, medications, vitamins, minerals that I listed earlier. Once you're complete, every time you collect a stool sample, you're going to put it in a baggie and refrigerate it right away. Don't freeze any of your samples, and that includes your saliva samples. Now you might think this is kind of confusing, when you start avoiding the certain foods and medications and vitamins and minerals, and what days to start collecting both the saliva and stool. So we do hand out and provide a timeline here that you'll have in your possession, or again, I'll put a link below this video where you can see when we recommend to start avoiding those things in your diet and when you should start collecting your samples. And the goal is to have everything completed by a Monday or Tuesday. So you're able to mail it on, either Monday or Tuesday, so the labs can receive the samples by the weekend. So that's the goal for that. In addition, I have mentioned medications. Some people are on very important medications that they can't necessarily just stop, which we don't recommend. We don't recommend just stopping certain medications for this collection phase. So there are some medications on the lower half of this handout you will have that you want to read through and see if you're taking any of them. And if you are, that's all right, don't stop, but you do want to document which ones you're taking and the dose so the lab knows and they can make note of that, because it could alter your results, but they'll know that it could be due to a certain medication. So give this requisition form a really good read. Pretty much any question you may have is probably already on here. And as soon as you see this video, or as soon as you attend the hormone class and receive your kits and have them and have done the avoidance phase, get started with your kit as soon as possible, because the lab does take about several weeks, 3 to 5 weeks to get the results back. And we want to make sure to stay on track with your program, so the next time you do meet with me for an individual consult, we have your lab results to go over together. And if you have any questions at all, you are more than welcome to call in here to the office, or my email is alicia@purohealthandwellness.com. So thank you for watching, and happy collecting!